All right, welcome back, everyone. I have Hugo Alonso from Stay Winning Podcast with me. And today we're going to kind of talk about how the game is rigged. So, welcome back, Hugo.
Hey Mark, thanks again for having me. Everyone support on Mark's channel. Please consider again liking and subscribe. Uh, putting in and hopefully you take some value out of it. So today we're discussing how the game is rigged.
Yeah, so for me, I kind of see it, in my day-to-day life, kind of at the firehouse a lot. I see a lot of guys feel like, they're never going to have the opportunity to purchase a home, especially, prices are very high in Hawaii. And they kind of just feel defeated, like that they just can't get ahead, especially the way, how everything's expensive and just the cost of living. And so, yeah, I see it kind of every day.
You know what? I think that's true. I've seen a spike in social media videos of people complaining how they can't make it. And this is across all ages. But on Twitter, I see a lot of the younger generation, for sure, not having a positive view of the future just based on how expensive things are now. And clearly, they're just only going to keep getting more expensive. So, in a sense, yeah, you can say the game is rigged. I mean, they don't teach personal finance in school at all. And that's not an accident. That's on purpose. It's meant to be like that. Um, so that's where my whole point's in, right? Stay winning. I can help you play the game. I like the analogy you made off camera. So maybe we can
Hold on, man. You're cutting in and out quite a bit. All right, we're gonna just kind of wing it and see how it goes. Hugo's having a little bit of technical difficulty, but we'll see how it comes out. He has new internet, he said, so it's not as smooth as he normally is. But yeah, you kind of mentioned it. We were kind of talking off camera, and I kind of like to kind of relate it to like like the game. Maybe the game being played right now is chess, right? And that's the game that you need to be playing to succeed. And there's some people out there, like you're talking about, maybe complaining or feeling they can't get ahead. But in their head, they're playing checkers, right? So the game is chess right now. But these people want to play this game of checkers that, they were told this is the way to do it, go to school, get a job. And they don't want to change their mindset or change their thoughts, and they want to keep playing this game of checkers out there.
yeah, I definitely see a lot of people still want to play chess when the game right now is chess, maybe even 3D chess. Um, I know I've kind of mentioned how difficult it is to put or save up for a down payment, especially when some of these properties, I mean, if you take a look at the last 3 years, you know, prices depreciate like 20 to 30% in like 2020, 2021, 2020. So if you're saving 100 grand, in those 3 years, that 100 grand is no longer 30% down payment. So I can agree at the moment that definitely the game is rigged, but we're here to discuss alternate ways to win that game as well. So if you take a look at the board of chess or checkers, right? I'm sure you've seen the analogy where what about if you just double the penny every single little square, and then you end up with like I believe seven figures at the end of the board. So one thing I would tell people, or what I would do in that situation is if I'm trying to save up for a house, right? I have taxes against me, I have inflation against me, I have appreciation of properties against me, and I could only work so much, right? And in this case, you have to only work so much because banks prefer a W-2 versus your money coming from other sources. So the way I would get ahead of it would be this, right? So if I got to 10,000 and I want to get to 20,000 a lot faster, right? It took me X amount of time to save those 10,000. But if I flip a watch, which is considered an asset, a certain ones are, I mean, you have to know the market, right? But if you take a look at a Rolex, I mean, you just like the value's just been going up over the last couple of years. So we can get into a Rolex, say like at 15,000, and maybe in a couple months you flip it for 20. That's an extra five G's that you didn't have to work for, that you didn't have to save, didn't have to stress. And that's how you can start playing chess on the board. So that's one thing that stands out for me. I'm not sure if you can think of any more, um, but maybe we could bounce ideas back off each other on that.
Yeah,
But
I
I
like
definitely want
that.
to help
Yeah, I like that. The
stay
velocity
winning.
of money. Yeah, I like that. Like you're saying, increase the velocity of the chunks of money that you're growing.
Exactly. But yeah, I see it on my timeline on Twitter all day about how tough it is, how the game is rigged. So we're also here to help you understand a little bit how money works, be aware of where your money actually goes, um, whether you vote a certain way or not impacts your money. So you get a paycheck. Um, 43 out of the 50 states will tax you on it, on top of the federal taxes. You go spend it, you get taxed on that. The person that you spend it on will get taxed on it as well. So once you start seeing exactly where your money goes, you can literally be a little more conscious, spend it, or how hard it really is to, even harder to keep it. So I know because the game is rigged, a lot of people say it's easy to just be like, oh, this while we saw that we just tax the rich. But if you go back to previous episodes, if you've been following us, um, there's things that you have control over in this world, and there's things that you don't have control. Taxing the rich is not something you have control over. That's just the truth. That's just facts. But becoming rich is something you have control over. And Mark has a great channel with good information to help you how to get richer every day. And if Mark, you can follow my stuff. Well, Mark's really cool. So, um, yeah, I'll let Mark take it from here.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love the content you're putting out, trying to help everyone also, and I think that's why we get along so well. We're kind of on that same journey of just trying to give people information on not making the same mistakes that we made and how we grew up and some of the bad habits that we may have had, but also realizing and changing our mindset, like you're saying, that the game is rigged, and also just kind of knowing how money works and where your money's going, how you're spending it, and kind of doing things that you have control of. I really like that. Like as far as there's a lot of things that we don't have control over, and so many people out there, like you're saying on social media, you see them, complaining about things or saying how hard things are, and yeah, rightfully so. Like you said, I agree with you. Things are expensive, things are tough, but at the same time, there's only certain things that you can control. And as far as like you saying, the taxes and all that, that's a lot of that, policies, you really don't have too much control over it. But like you're saying, becoming wealthy or becoming rich, that's where you have a lot of opportunities that you can figure out how to do it. Because a lot of people are doing it, like we talked about earlier too. Like, no matter what the conditions are, there's people that are making money, succeeding, and you kind of just got to find, your path and, surround yourself with people that are doing it. Like I never thought I'd get into real estate. It was something that I never thought that was in me, and I just looked at it as just, what wealthy people do, or just something that I would never really find enjoyment. But now that I've gone down this path, I love real estate, and it seems that you love real estate, and there's a lot of other things that you're, um, doing for financial reasons too.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely love real estate, so we can use it as an example. So there's no need to beat yourself up about us taxing the rich. But you can follow Mark and I, and we can do our best to help you become rich. And I would definitely say, at least when you take compare me to the rest of I'm easily in the top 10, 5%. So Mark is successful as well. We made mistakes and we learn from them. And we want to provide all those stories to you so you can avoid those mistakes and avoid setbacks, avoid money losses, and save yourself some time and save yourself some money. Um, so when I mentioned that you can't tax the rich, right? Just in the whole spirit of this video of how money works, poor people exchange their time for money. We mentioned that in previous videos. Poor people go and punch in 40 hours a week and get paid. So that's exchanging time for money, and that's what gets you taxed the highest. So while people are there having no control over, but just wishing to tax the rich, that's not going to happen. What you do have control over is negotiating your pay, being aware of what your state taxes are, to see if it's worth getting a raise. Sometimes you get a raise and then it dings you a little more, and then you're like, oh, I'm not taking home more because I'm this. And you might have to wait a year for a refund, or at the end of the year, you might get even taxed more. So what you control over is negotiating your pay. You do have control over deciding where you want to work, for how long you want to work at. No one is stopping you from applying to other jobs where you are at your current job. Um, yeah, and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, you have mouths to feed, even if it's just your own. Eventually, you're going to have more mouths to feed. So you do have control over where you apply, how often you apply, how often you want to move jobs, how far away you want to go for employment. I've seen people that I beat out to a job simply because they didn't want to drive an extra 30 minutes. I was able and said, hey, I'll drive those extra 30 minutes, and then boom, boom, promotion here, promotion there, double, right? So you do have control over that. I've known other cases where you have control of how you get paid. So as I mentioned before, as an individual, you work for money, you get the paycheck, you get taxed on it, federal, state, insurance, everything else. And then you go spend it and you get taxed on that, and the person you spend it on gets taxed on that. But set up an LLC, and that's the great thing about capitalism in the US. And these tax loopholes are not necessarily for the rich. These are people that know how to play the tax loopholes to go ahead and get rich. So here's one for you. You can get hired as an LLC, right? So if you're a salesperson, let's say that's your job as salesperson, right? You can just say, hey, my company's actually X sales. Go ahead and pay my LLC. So now you're actually getting paid the gross income versus the net income. And then you spend accordingly and you only get taxed on what's left over. And that's one way to play the game. That's one way to play chess or 3D chess on instead of playing checkers. So now you're only getting taxed on what's left over versus on the gross amount where you never got to see 30 to 40% of it. And you're getting taxed on that. So if this is something new that you heard, I'm glad. So that's something that you may want to consider when you're looking for employment is, hey, why don't you pay me into an LLC as a consultant instead of a sales rep or as a third party sales rep? That way I can get paid into an LLC and have that gross amount hit my account versus getting taxed on it and having the net income hit the account. So that's one way to win. As far as, did we mention already the Rolexes and money, and was that
Yeah,
off camera or
no,
on camera?
yeah, that was on camera. Yeah, I like I said, I like that the velocity of the money that you're or earning and trying to the quicker you get it to grow. But I like the LLC, recommendation too, because I think that's a big thing I notice is I think people get afraid of taxes and they don't realize that a lot of it is there to benefit business owners, real estate investors, and it's there to to use it to your benefit, like you're saying. And but people when they hear taxes, they think of like getting audited or they kind of get afraid and they don't realize if they just found people to work with that these people are there to help them save money or make more money.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. So I know we started out the video with the system being rigged. It's definitely rigged against the individual. As I mentioned, they don't teach personal finance in school, and that's not an accident. But it's not rigged against entrepreneurship. Capitalism awards entrepreneurship. This country awards it that. You start an LLC, there's a $50,000 grant you can get, and now you have capital, and capital is power. And then you can make moves with that. So knowing how to play chess is very important. And I hope you're taking that away from this video. I like Mark's analogy of it, and I try to add in my 2 cents as far as what the chessboard looks to me, so I can help you guys stay winning.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I don't know where I heard that from. I probably saw it on Twitter somewhere. Somebody was talking about the game being rigged, and I think checkers and chess really represent it well. But I always like to talk about sports too, and we were talking about it, like even like football, the game of football has changed, basketball has changed. And if you haven't adapted to that style of play now, you're going to be left behind. Like football, it used to be like a running back league, smash mouth football defense. But that kind of football, is not really played. The game has been changed to like an open quarterback, wide receiver league, passing and high scoring. And if you haven't changed or adapted, you're kind of left behind.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I mean, you know, I don't know how one to get, but right, even animals out there, only the strong survive. Only the ones that adapt are able to continue living. So that's what the times we're in now, we have to adapt. So it's no longer easy as go to school and get a good job because 9 out of 10 times, if you do that, you're just going to end up with debt. If you end up with debt, now you've probably shot your debt to income ratio where you outpriced yourself of owning a home. If that's something that concerns you, tune into previous episodes where we talk about how to prevent that debt and how to better plan for it, whether it's for you or whether it's for your children that are about to enter college. So make sure to check those episodes out as well.
Yeah, like you touched on it in other episodes too, kind of how the system almost puts you down this path into debt, and then working, to your like 65, right? You go to college, take out student loans. Then when you graduate, you're told to buy a car, buy a home, pay for a wedding and all these things. And then now you find yourself in debt. And then now you're, working 40 to 50 years to pay off this debt and, put away money in your 401k and things.
Yeah, exactly. And debt is a double-edged sword, and I can guarantee you that rich people use debt for their favor. I've used it as leverage to buy more real estate. So has Mark. Now that real estate cash flows and makes me while I sleep. And if they pay me cash, I avoid taxes. Don't tell anyone, but yeah, that's how it works. So even if you don't own real estate, sleep in the living room or not the bedroom. Let them pay you cash and then you avoid taxes. And again, at the end of the day, it's about how much money you're able to keep. So it's a two-part equation, right? It's not just making more money. It's like, well, now I got to play the game and be like, how much of that can I actually keep? Um, so that's something there for you. Don't throw me under the bus, guys. I'm just trying to help you guys out. But yeah, I see too many people try to beat themselves up about taxing the rich and how the system is rigged, but as long as you know how to play the game, system rewards entrepreneurship, system rewards capitalism. As I mentioned before, if you have bad credit, you can set up an LLC with its own tax ID, and now all of a sudden you have good credit again, right? Oh, you need more purchasing power? Cool. And we'll start another LLC, and now you have another tax ID, and which is free to get. And now you have more purchasing power because you have another credit profile that you created. And that's how you play the game of chess so you can continue winning. So again, you can't tax the rich. You're not going to get people to pass legislation to tax themselves further into poverty. Um, at the end of the day, we're only taxing ourselves based on the way we vote. We see the impacts of inflation. It's only a tax on the middle class and the poor. But as long as you know how to play the game, you can, I mean, it's marketed as tax loopholes, but it's not just for this. Anyone could take advantage of them, right? So let's say you have the LLC and they have a new tax ID, new purchasing power, new borrowing power, and you have it registered to your home address. Now you have a home office. Now, when you do your taxes, you have an extra write-off there. So that's more way to keep money in your pocket because at the end of the day, you work hard for it. So keeping the most money in your pocket possible. I'm not a big fan of taxes. I'm not a big how the system works. I know it's not possible, but I know how to become rich. Now, I'm not where I want to be at yet. I'm not nowhere near the finish line, maybe because my dreams are too big or because everything's too expensive here, but I'm on track to definitely become the rich where I don't have to worry about taxes.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get. I'm kind of old already, but I don't know if my goals are as big as yours. Maybe if I started
Every video,
early,
guys.
maybe
You
if I started
mentioned
early,
the whole, so now that you mentioned the whole starting when you're rich, time is definitely the biggest asset that you can have on a financial journey. As I mentioned in previous videos, the most important part about overnight success are the first 5 to 10 years, sometimes closer to the 10-year mark. But yeah, time is very important. So if you're a parent, you're listening out there, you can start saving for your kids' college today. There's accounts that you can open up, like 529 plans, even a CD, even their own stock brokerage account, where you can start putting money in today. So you can take advantage of that 20-year compound in. So when college comes, you don't have to worry about how expensive college that is. Because again, I have control about college tuition. If people are paying and getting debt, colleges are going to lower down teachers more. They're not going to lower down the price. So again, that's not in your control. So you can do a 529 plan, or you can buy real estate, carry the assets for those 20 years and cash out and pay for college that way. So just be more conscious about where your money goes because really, really earn, but it's even harder to go ahead and keep, especially in today's culture where everyone just likes to flex on the gram. And that's another reason we're so depressed, right? Because they see all these luxuries on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and that's not their. Look at Mark, he's a multimillionaire. You wouldn't even know
Is that why you disabled your gram? I was like looking for you. I was like,
it.
where did he go? I was trying to tag you, man.
uh yeah, yeah. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just focusing right now on Twitter and YouTube because I have control over that, right? It's like I have control of being on Instagram and making no money, or being on Twitter, being on YouTube and making money. So I'd rather pick that option because I'm in control over that, right? So let's just be aware of what we control over and not blame other people or the government about things that are out of control or the system because we can do to control our um tweet again, even before it hatches the eggs. So in my culture, everyone always tells me, when are you gonna have kids, right? You're in your 30s, when are you gonna have kids? And I'm like, hey, I'm still building the nest because I have control over that, right? So the question I'd like to throw back at them is, I think we can all agree on that our kids deserve the best, right? In order for my kids to, I have to be the best version of myself. So I'm still working on that. And again, we're here. Mark and I are getting paid for doing it, but down the line, eventually, I will have more time to spend with our family and loved ones. And not only will we have control over our money, we'll have control over our time as well.
My one advice for that is don't wait too long because when you get older, man, those first few years are rough, man. When depending if your kid goes to sleep and they do not run out of energy. So don't wait too long, man. Those first few years are kind of rough, man. But well worth it. I mean, it's amazing. But yeah, but
Mm.
next time if you're
It's well
gonna
worth it.
disable something, let me know. I was like, man, did I offend him or something? What's going on? I can't find him anymore.
Oh, oh yeah. Anyone listening, I'm the least offended person out there. So if you want to leave a mean comment, go ahead. It only helps out the algorithm, especially on Twitter. You want to mean on mine or Mark's tweets, go ahead. It's just impressions that count towards getting paid. So I'm the least offended person out there. And just on the personal side, to address Mark's concern of a time frame when I will start a family, and that is after the 2026 World Cup because we're hosting it. So I want to be able to travel freely to any game I want. And I don't
Hey,
see that being as easily
oh yeah, don't
with
me
the
too.
child. And I don't want to be that parent that has the crying child in the plane. However, if I can get a private jet before then, even better.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. This was a lot of fun, man. Like I said, I completely forgot you disabled your gram until you brought it up. I was like, where'd you go, man? I was trying to tag you. I'm like, am I typing it in wrong? Yeah. But we missed last
Yeah,
week
so
because
just
I
to,
forget we were both busy, right? I forget what happened. Yeah, we missed last week.
oh, yeah, 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 yeah. So maybe we can talk about that offline. I think I'm going to get busier
Oh,
because everyone's been supporting me so much on Twitter and YouTube.
awesome.
So pretty soon, you guys, I will have Mark on my channel and I'll be practicing my podcast hosting skills. So I look forward to your support and Mark's support on my channel for that.
I thought that's what this was for, practicing.
Yeah, yeah. This is practicing me answering questions.
Yeah. Okay,
The
cool.
other one's practicing me asking questions.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, this was a lot of fun. You want to touch on anything else or
Oh, well, you know this topic. I mean, there's so much to say. Maybe we can make a part two, but just to
yeah.
summarize it, uh, in case the AI makes this short, just to summarize today's video, you can't tax the rich, but you can be the rich. The game out there is checkers.
No.
No, let me
The
do it
game is
again.
chess.
Yeah, you can't tax the rich, but you can be the rich. The game out there is chess, not checkers. The system, I guess you can say, is rigged, but if you know how to play it, every entrepreneurship, every word's capitalism. Any questions? Feel free to reach out to me and Mark. We're here to help you. And I appreciate you guys tuning in.
All right. I don't know if you want to try one more time, or at least you got cut off on that last part about capitalism.
Oh, again?
Well, the first two came out good, but then that last one when you're talking about taxing the rich, and that one kind of cut off. Like right now, you're frozen. Oh, where'd you go?
My Stay Winning podcast laptop is, I ruined it. So now
Yeah,
my
that's
work
what you said.
laptop, and then it's not hooked up to my new Wi-Fi, and then I forgot to plug it in, and the battery sucks.
All right,
All right,
take
so we'll just do
three,
that
and we're
last
gonna
part
try.
again.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, take three. So to summarize the interview, you can't tax the rich, but you can be the rich. The name of the game is chess, not checkers. This country rewards entrepreneurship. Capitalism rewards entrepreneurship. Any questions you have, feel free to reach out. We're definitely here to help you stay winning. So thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for coming on again. We'll do this again, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Good luck.
All right, thanks, Hugo.